Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Hope all of you are very fine. Before starting our today's lecture, I want to discuss some important points with you. You should all know today we are going to study second term syllabus as our first term is completed, and I want to attract your attention towards the point that we are coming closer to your exams. So, all of you must get serious about your studies, and it's the time that you all should pay all of your attention towards studies and spend more time in understanding and learning the taught lecture. I will certainly check you in surprise test and hope you all will follow my instructions on regular basis. So let's come toward our today's topic, and that is from your geography book and chapter number 3, weathering and mass wasting. Weathering is a natural process that slowly breaks apart or change rock. Heat, water, wind, living things, and other natural force cause weathering. Over many years, weathering can shape rock into unusual formation. And in a simple way, I will describe you weathering. Weathering is the process where rock is dissolved or broke down into smaller pieces. And there are mechanical, chemical, and organic weathering process. It means there are 3 types of weathering. Number 1 is physical weathering. Physical weathering is also called the mechanical weathering. And the second one is chemical weathering, and number 3 is biological weathering. And in your book you can study about the mechanical and chemical means. आपको समझ में आ गया कि वेदरिंग क्या होता है कि जब रॉक छोटे छोटे पीसेस में जो उसके टूटने का प्रोसेस होता है उसको हम वेदरिंग कहते हैं, ठीक है। और वेदरिंग की 3 टाइप्स होती हैं, मैंने अभी आपको बताया, फिजिकल, केमिकल एंड बायोलॉजिकल। एंड इन अ मैकेनिकल वेदरिंग the process of breaking big rocks into little pieces. And chemical weathering means the change in the surface of the rock that makes change shape or color of the rock. And the movement of weathered rock by natural forces are called erosion. So first I will explain you weathering with an example, and first of all I will explain you the physical weathering or mechanical weathering. Okay, mechanical weathering is also called physical weathering. And have you ever broken a fingernail? And most people use a nail file to smooth it out, and filed nail looks and feel different, but that doesn't change the fact that it is a nail. Or alternate makeup, something rather similar happen every day on the surface of the earth. No one is using a file to rub on the earth, but the rock that make the surface of the earth change its size, its shapes, its texture and firmness due to the different forces that act on them. These changes are called the physical weathering or mechanical weathering. They occur without the rock moving. Things may drop on a rock just like something drop on your hand, and the rock may break just like your fingernail breaks. Something may rub on a rock just like the file you use on your fingernail. The shape of the rock will change as long as whatever it is that rub it is hard enough. There are many different forces in nature that cause physical weathering of rocks. And very simple definition of mechanical weathering or physical weathering is breaks the rock without changing their composition. Weathering by mechanical means involves process like freezing and thawing of water, expansion and contraction of rocks, and aging by plant roots. And the next type of weathering is the chemical weathering. Chemical weathering happen when rocks break down because of chemical reaction. And 3 type of chemical weathering are oxidation, hydrolysis and carbonation. Oxidation of rocks produce rust and weakens the rock, causing faster weathering. Acid precipitation is responsible for most chemical weathering that take place, and groundwater may contain weak acid which dissolves some kinds of rocks. And in all weathering process, from sediments, which includes the pebbles, sand, silt, clay. So now I will repeat all this weathering topic. And weathering is a process that change the characteristics of rock earth surface. Physical and mechanical weathering is when rock are broken into smaller pieces without changing their chemical composition, and chemical weathering is when rock are chemically changed into a different substance. And the next topic of this book, this chapter, is mass wasting. And mass wasting, also known as slope movement or the mass movement, in which the soil, sand, and rock move downslope, typically as a solid, continuous, or discontinuous mass, largely under the force of gravity, frequently with the characteristics of a flow, as in debris flows and mud flows. A large-scale movement of loose material derived from weathering of bedrock down a slope is known as mass wasting, and it is also called mass movement. Term mass wasting is coined due to two reasons. Number one is the loose material is actually a waste material, and number two is the total movement down the slope on account of gravity causes the waste of rock debris in higher slopes. In mass wasting, the presence of water, wind, and glacier are contributory factor, but the movement is basically on account of gravity, and the steeper the slope, the more rapid is the movement. Various processes are involved in mass movement, such as the fall, creep, slide, and all these processes can be divided into two categories: slow movement, mass wasting, and the rapid movement. And in a slow movement, gravity is the main factor. And in a rapid movement, water is the main factor, and there are four major kinds of rapid movement: landslide, earth flow, and mud flow, and sheet wash. And in all of them, most common, significant, and also observable is the landslide. Landslide is the only exceptional rapid movement in which water is not the main factor. And landslide involves both the rock and the soil. Mostly landslide occurs rapidly, and landslides are often triggered by the earthquake, heavy rain, or by the wind action. And in mud flow, water content is more than in earth flow, and the debris is transported by the streams and rivers as mud. And mud flows occur in areas where vegetation is not present and slopes are steep. And usually in the arid regions with steep slopes, mud flow are common during rainfall. And creep is the slow movement of mass wasting, and downhill movement of debris is called soil creep. Climatic conditions play an important role in soil creep. Another topic is weathering and erosion. Weathering is the breaking down of rocks when they are exposed on the earth's surface by physical or chemical means. And erosion is the removal of exposed land by water, wind, and glacier. And the last topic of this chapter is weathering and erosion impact on human activities, their positive impact and their negative impact on human activities. And the positive impact is the weathering of rock helps to form the basis component of soil. Soil is very essential for the human activities, and it enables the farming for food crops. Human cause increase in acid rain and pollution, which increase the amount of weathering agents in the air and water and then on land. And the important negative impact of weathering and erosion is erosion by flowing water during the flood causes the extensive damage to human properties, and they also destroy lives. Floods can cause crops and livestock destruction. Human cause and increase in acid rain and pollution, which increase the amount of the weathering agents in the air and water. Move to the exercise. Fill in the blanks on page number 34. Mechanical weathering breaks the rock without changing the composition. Frost action involves freezing and melting of water. Curved sheet peel away from granite surface in a process called exfoliation. Temperature change also contribute to mechanical weathering. Rocks that contain iron-bearing mineral experience oxidation. Choose the correct option. Question number 2. A volume of rock that fall through the air is rockfall, landslide, creep, mud flow. And the correct option is rockfall. A volume of rock that falls through the air is rockfall. The next number 2 is rapid downslope sliding of fragmented rock is landslide, rockfall, mud flow, creep. Landslide is the correct option. Rapid downslope sliding of fragmented rock is landslide. Third one is Athabad Lake was formed by a mud flow, rockfall, landslide, avalanche. And the correct option is landslide. Athabad Lake was formed by a landslide. C option is the correct option. Number 4. Very rapidly moving disordered mass of weathering rock or snow down a mountain side is called avalanche, creep, mud flow, rockfall. And the correct option is option A, avalanche. And very rapidly moving disordered mass of weathering rock or snow down mountain side is called avalanche. The extremely slow downhill movement of weathered rock material is avalanche, creep, rockfall, mud flow. And the correct option is creep. The extremely slow downhill movement of weathered rock material is creep. Now move to the next question. Next question is question number 3. Give brief answers. Question number 1 is what is weathering? The answer is on your page number 27 and you can see on your screens also. Weathering is breaking down of rock when they are exposed on the earth's surface by mechanical, physical or chemical means. Question number 2. Define the term landslide. And this answer is on your book, page number 30. Landslide. Landslide is the rapid downslope movement of masses of loose rock combined with soil. Landslides are common along steep mountain slopes. Question number 3 is how does frost action break up rock? And the answer of this question is on your book, page number 27. Frost action is a type of mechanical weathering that occurs in areas where temperature frequently fluctuate above and below freezing point. Water in the cracks of the rock of such regions alternately freezes and melts. Freezing increases the volume of water by about 9%, which builds up pressure on the surrounding rocks. Every time the ice thaws and freeze cracks in the rock and deepen due to pressure produced by freezing of water, and this process eventually splits the rock apart. And you can also see in your page on your page number 27 the figure frost action. बेसिकली फ्रॉस्ट एक्शन है क्या कि जब बहुत ज़्यादा सर्दी होती है ऐसे इलाके जहाँ पे फ्रीजिंग पॉइंट तक चला जाता है टेम्परेचर यानी 0 डिग्री से भी नीचे चला जाता है तो वहाँ पे जितनी भी रॉक्स होती हैं उनके अंदर जो पानी होता है उसमें वो जमना शुरू हो जाता है। और आपको पता है कि जब पानी फ्रीज़ होता है तो पानी तो वो बर्फ़ बन जाता है और वो बर्फ़ जो है वो एक्सपैंड हो जाती है और जब वो एक्सपैंड होती है तो वो उसमें क्रैक्स आ जाते हैं, रॉक के अंदर क्रैक्स आ जाते हैं। Frost action is a form of a physical weathering or a mechanical weathering, and that involves the repeat freezing of water in areas where extremely cold weather. When water freeze, it expands. And if you have ever used ice cube trays, and you may have noticed this when you fill trays from the freezers, sometimes the water has frozen and expanded over the edges of the tray. This is especially noticeable when you filled the tray to the very top before freezing, and you can test this yourself by using a clear bottle filled with water. And once you have the filled bottle with water about 2/3 full, and use a pen to mark the level on the outside of the bottle, and place the bottle without the lid in the freezer, and until the water is frozen, look at the mark and you will see the level is now above the original line. And most rocks have tiny cracks and holes in them called joints. When it rains, water fills in these joints, and when the temperature drops at night, the water freezes and expands. As the ice expands, and it puts pressure on the surrounding rock, eventually, with sufficient time and force, and the pressure expand the crack even further. The next question is, what is exfoliation? And the answer of this question is on your book, page number 27. Granite rocks is formed under extreme temperature and pressure within the earth crust. When it is uplifted and exposed to less temperature and pressure on the surface of the earth, it expands, and curved cracks on its surface are formed, and these cracks are parallel to its surface, and the rock break into curved sheet and that peel away from the underlying rock is a process called exfoliation. एक्सफोलिएशन जो है वो क्या होती है? एक्सफोलिएशन बेटा दो तरह से दो कॉजेज़ होते हैं उसके। एक तो रिलीज़ ऑफ प्रेशर होता है और उसका दूसरा क्या है? हीट इंसुलेटेड रॉक्स। और सबसे पहले मैं आपको बताऊंगी कि रिलीज़ ऑफ प्रेशर क्या है। कि जब एक रॉक के ऊपर एक हार्ड रॉक है और उसके ऊपर एक सॉफ्ट रॉक है, तो उसकी जो नीचे हार्ड रॉक होती है उस पर प्रेशर होता है, और जो ऊपर वाली रॉक है जब वो ऊपर से रिमूव हो जाती है तो उसके जो नीचे वाली रॉक का प्रेशर है, जो कि पहले इंटरनल प्रेशर था, वो एक्सटर्नल हो जाता है, यानी वो बाहर की तरफ आ जाएगा। वो कैसे बाहर की तरफ आएगा? कि रॉक के जो डिफरेंट लेयर्स हैं वो एक्सपैंड करेंगी, और आपको पता है कि जब कोई सॉलिड चीज़ एक्सपैंड करती है तो वो ब्रेक हो जाती है। इसी तरह से जब रॉक एक्सपैंड करेगी तो वो ब्रेक हो जाएगी। तो जो उसका ये ब्रेकिंग प्रोसेस होगा, इसको हम कहेंगे एक्सफोलिएशन, कॉज रिलीज ऑफ प्रेशर। और दूसरा क्या है कि हीट इंसुलेटेड रॉक। हीट इंसुलेटेड रॉक का मतलब ये है, हीट इंसुलेटेड का क्या मतलब है कि हीट कैन नॉट एंटर, हीट उसके अंदर नहीं जा सकती। इट विल रिमेन ऑन द टॉप। इट मीन्स ओनली अपर लेयर एक्सपैंड एंड अपर लेयर ब्रेक. Only outer layer will expand and contract daily. Over the long period exfoliate. In the daytime, it will absorb the heat, and upper layer expand in the daytime and contract at the night time, because in the deserted area at the night time temperature is different. In the daytime the temperature is very hot, and in the night time comparatively it's cooler than the daytime, and such regular contraction and expansion will create and led to the disintegration in the form of peeling. I hope you can understand exfoliation. And causes of exfoliation are release of pressure and heat insulated rock. Now move to the next question. Question number 5. Name 3 types of chemical weathering. And 3 types of chemical weathering are oxidation, hydrolysis, and carbonation. Now look at the page number 35. Question number 4. Give detailed answer. What is meant by weathering? Explain the main type of physical weathering. And the answer of this question is on page number 26 and 28. Weathering, mechanical weathering, and frost action, exfoliation, repeated temperature change, and edging of plant roots. These 4 points are included in this answer. And the next question is describe the type of mass wasting. And the answer of this question is on your page 30, 31, and 32. And in this, you have page number 30, mass wasting, and five headings are included in it. Number one, rockfall, landslides, and avalanches, creep, and mud flow. I have covered almost all the almost important topics in this chapter, and today's lecture is concluded, and all of you must watch and listen the lecture wholeheartedly to understand the important aspect properly, and take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.